This is Reimagining Our Region, your go-to podcast for regional insights and trends. Each episode brings together expert discussions on the challenges and the opportunities shaping the Middle East, from economic shifts to emerging technologies. I am Amal Laghlid, partner at PwC Middle East.
And I'm Patricia Keating, Senior Manager at PwC Middle East. We'll explore how businesses in the Middle East are adapting to remain competitive, focusing on business model reinvention, sustainable growth, and the transformation needed to thrive in an evolving landscape. Welcome to today's podcast. ESG and sustainability are no longer optional add-ons for businesses. They have become essential. With regulations tightening and stakeholders pushing for greater transparency, companies need to adapt or they will not survive. But what does that really look like in practice? And how are businesses balancing sustainability commitments with their commercial objectives? And what role does ESG play in driving that long-term resilience and competitiveness? To help us unpack all of this and how to drive real impact in their business, I'm joined by Vijaypal Singh Bains, the Chief Sustainability Officer and Group Head at ESG at Emirates NBD. We are very, very excited to learn about his insights on the evolving ESG landscape and the challenges that businesses face in implementing those sustainability initiatives. Welcome, Vijay.
Thank you so much, Patricia. It's a great honour to be here with you as well.
Lovely. Listen, we have spent a lot of time over the last 12 months talking about sustainability and some of the challenges out there, but let's talk about ESG in terms of the place that it plays within the kind of the business environment. It has moved from corporate responsibility and that kind of CSR space to becoming a core strategic pillar. You have seen quite a lot of shifts in that space. What are you seeing that businesses are doing and how they're approaching that ESG component today?
I think what we're seeing increasingly in the region and globally is sustainability is a profit driver. So we're seeing those companies that see it as a profit driver are really seeing that it's opening up new markets and new opportunities for them as well. We are, however, also seeing regulations. So I think in the last 12 months as well, regulations have increased as well. So we're seeing CSRD in Europe, CSDD, CSDDD, I should say.
We're getting into the acronyms.
We're getting into the acronyms early on.
We love a good acronym here.
But actually what's happened in the last 6 months is a consolidation of a lot of those EU regulations as well, and those regulations around the world as well. And actually, that's what really been welcomed by the market as well. To have a right-sized regulatory approach. I think finally, knowledge of sustainability has really increased. I think we're asking the right questions around circular economy, around greenwashing as well. It's no longer just a topic for the sustainability team, it's a topic for the CEO and boardroom. And we've seen that through the survey as well, that sustainability and all new trends are seen with a sustainable lens from AI, technology, and climate technology as well. So it's really kind of part of that boardroom conversations now.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, strategic side is important. Regulation and compliance is important, but so is the access to capital to enable all of this. And that is really, where the businesses will find the power and the ability to actually take action. Now, there's lots of sustainable finance models, right? So there's green bonds, the carbon markets, the financial ecosystem, but looking at the bigger picture, Vijay, where do you see the biggest opportunities when it comes to climate finance?
I think for me, renewable energy is huge. I think and we've had wonderful talks today around AI technology. Our need for energy is really increasing around the world. Per capita consumption is really increasing. That's driving a need for more energy. We've also seen inflation increase. So actually, we need to scale up renewable energy to be de-inflationary as well in the market. We see a lot of opportunities, both in the UAE, GCC, but also around the world as well. I think secondly as well, what we see is sustainable finance is scaling as well. So definitely in corporate lending as well, more and more of our clients are not just talking about sustainable finance as an instrument, they're saying this is an essential part of our access to capital. So actually, even if we are really thinking about conventional, we should have a sustainable finance strategy so that we can maximize our liquidity in the markets as well.
Can you expand on that bit a little bit? Because that's quite interesting. What you're saying is that the customer is almost demanding it because it's actually a strategic core for them.
Yeah, certainly. So sustainable finance markets have been growing substantially, both in the region and globally. Now, in order to access that for green bonds, social loans, you need to have a framework and a strategy. And actually, what we saw during COVID and the credit crunch are those markets close up. So what a lot of CFOs and treasurers are saying, actually, we really need to have this as part of our arsenal to access the capital. Because if there's any gaps, we need to be able to access that. In the same way that we have Sharia compliant products as well. And I think also importantly for sustainable finance, it's a growing part of the liquidity pool around the world. So more and more banks are investing it, more and more states and governments are investing it as well. So actually it's really important that treasurers and CFOs have that forward strategy. And often as they talk to us, they are knocking on the door rather than us knocking on their doors, which is brilliant to see. And I think it's the right thing to do, not just for the world, but also for the corporation as well.
Yeah, I think it's that policy-driven financial incentives that are coming through that is helping to help it somewhat enable what you're describing. Now, it's not just about those sort of corporate financial instruments, it's about the venture capital world as well. Our recent State of Climate Tech report for the second year in a row has reported a decline in the sort of the VC funds that are out there to help sustain new emerging technologies that are coming into the market to help companies not just transform their financial models, but to transform their actual business models. There is some areas of investment that are still standing out. What's the bank's view on this, and where are you seeing the opportunities, and how can we maybe stimulate a more sort of enriched VC market for these frontier technologies?
I think it's a really great question. I think there has been a decline. I think we're also all looking this year as well. I think there is an elephant in the room that is AI and technology. So I think, we couldn't
it's AI in everything.
It's AI in everything at PwC and globally.
Yeah.
And that has taken in a lot of capital over the last 24 months. And we're going to see that continue to grow as well. I think with sustain tech and clean tech and climate tech, one of the challenges is the access to innovation. So it's quite capital intensive and quite high risks as well. So I think what we're going to see in the next 24, 36 months is definitely at the COPs, it's been now discussed to say, how can we support venture tech really invest in climate as well? Yeah. Now, that isn't always a role for a commercial bank. That is a role for innovation funds, research funding. So actually, that's probably what we need to see in the market, more rebates for technology innovation as well. The oil and gas industry has had 200 years to innovate.
and they do innovate, right? They do.
And I think they do an absolutely fantastic job. And we see as well for net zero, drone technology, AI technology being used, methane abatement, absolutely fantastic. I think we need to give a bit more time as well for net zero technologies as well to catch up. And the only way we're going to hit net zero is by innovating in hydrogen, ammonia, and other technologies as well. But there does need to be more investment in research as well. I think that's the key area. And I think once those innovations happened, the funding piles in as well.
I mean, you're pretty close to the coalface on this kind of thing, and also what the climate techs are facing. And when we did our roundtable and we've done the interviews with the climate techs, we were quite surprised that our assumption was that funding was going to be a big issue. And actually very few of them actually mentioned that. They talked about other non-financial challenges that they face in the market. What are some of the things that you're hearing there?
Yeah.
And what are some of the things that we can maybe do about that?
I think the number one comes is regulatory hurdles. I think that's the biggest one around new technologies being tested and ability to scale. I think scaling is the second one. Access, not just to capital, because as you said, I think we're all looking to invest. I think if I had my life again, I would have done one of these wonderful startups. But actually, it's making sure you're plugged in at enterprise grade. I think that's where they're now looking to go. And we have enterprises globally as well that has different risk profiles. And they're saying, can we get plugged in? Because actually, we can support them in their innovation as well. And so we as a bank are being asked really different questions than just to finance. It's how can you plug us to your infrastructure? How can you introduce us as well? And I think finally as well, it's a pathway as well for support. It's saying, what countries will support us, and there's a competition as well for innovation. I think in the next 20, 30 years, we're going to see the innovation part of the economy really, really grow. And so actually it's where they get the most rebates, but also finally access to talent as well. I think one of the most challenging areas is access to the right engineering and technology talent for these startups. That's the most common question that comes in as well. And often they're paying a premium for their resources as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's a war for talent out there. And, even having people with the right skills being educated at the university level, it's that whole education value chain. What are the universities teaching these young people that are coming out that are ready to go into these frontier, new, innovative, never been done before kind of technologies? We could sit here and talk about, what people should do, but I think the Emirates NBD is great at actually putting its money where its mouth is, and doing a lot of the things and learning from those experiences. Could you tell us a little bit about some of the things that you guys are doing around innovation, sustainability? I know you have done, even with the investment fund, some of the investments that you guys have done directly into these new sort of climate fintechs.
Yeah, and I think it's a brilliant question. I think you hit it on the head. We want to put our money where our mouth is. So we invested in a climate startup called Ergovan. We have a startup innovation fund. And we particularly look at fintech, sustain tech, on that kind of space as well. And we support Ergovan on a kind of Series A funding level, but also from a management level, talk around markets and access as well. And we've been on a really great journey together as well and say what works and what doesn't work. And for us, the key one is, can we recommend this to ourselves, but also to our clients as well? Also, we do startup rounds as well with startups where we give them mentoring as well from a fintech perspective as well. We're now looking at doing that for climate tech. And again, because that's, as you said, that's the biggest feedback we said. Say, we don't need access to capital. It's access to enterprise expertise as well.
Yeah.
I think finally, it's what we've been able to do is talk about the markets, talk about the growth of the markets, and also where not to put all your bets as well. And I think in sustainability, I think in a lot of markets, it's sometimes a bit of hyperbole of where people say we will invest and then that isn't matched up by action. So it's talking about, I'm going to say some of the boring things, but are really, really practical. Procurement life cycles, contracting as well. And say these contracts will take 6 months. And say, no, it will take a few weeks. Like it will take 6 months. Some of the legal and compliance areas as well. So I think we've really helped Ergovan and other startups on that as well. And then getting introduced and connected to the right levels and working those business models as well.
I always like to wrap up with a bit of a forward-looking piece. We are sitting here in Dubai. We're at the end of, almost at the end of quarter one in 2025. Yeah. How do you think the rest of the year will shape up for us here in the region? And what are the things that we need to be looking out for and thinking about as we go through the rest of the year?
So I think this quarter has been, for us as a bank and sustainability, really busy. Consistent growth, and we're going to see consistent growth this year as well, definitely in the GCC region for sustainability. And that's for a few reasons. One, the government's made a mandated framework as well for renewable energy, for net zero pathways, for carbon credits as well. That's stimulating the market. So we're seeing that continued growth. I think secondly as well is mainstream sustainability. My job is, and I don't want to make myself redundant here on a podcast.
AI might do that, Vijay.
Yeah, AI will do that. Oh God, oh no, it's all game over. AI Vijay is coming. But actually, my job is to mainstream sustainability in a bank and in the market as well, and to put it in everyone's job roles. And I think we're doing really well. We're always pushing ourselves, and our success is not just because of the sustainability team, who are fantastic, but also the rest of the bank being incredibly supportive there as well. And I think what we're seeing this year is those companies that invest in mainstreaming, like PwC, like Emirates NBD and others, are really seeing the market grow and the access grow as well.
Yeah. Thank you so much for taking your time to speak to us today. I've really enjoyed speaking to you again and learning a bit more about your thoughts on what's happening in the space of climate tech. That's a wrap for today's episode. We've explored how ESG is evolving beyond compliance and the role that climate finance is taking in accelerating that sustainability. One thing's clear, there is progress. Sustainability requires a combination of collaboration, strategic commitment, and innovation. Whether you're an investor, a business, a startup, please join us on this journey. Like and subscribe and share your thoughts on sustainability, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.